The biggest quote we've sent out to date was 80 grand.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
and we didn't win that one, actually.
mm.
It was a misunderstanding of what the client wanted, whatever. But we also have closed contracts, for 60.
What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode or another installment of what I like to call Six-Figure Conversations. This is a video series where I interview people who are exclusively in the corporate photo and video space. So, like I always say, no pets, no plants, no underwater, nothing. All right. We're doing straight corporate. All right. So today I have the pleasure of talking to the powerhouses who I like to refer to as the GOATs of Bakersfield and beyond. We are talking with Josh and Mike out on the West Coast, the owners and the lead creatives at Story King Studios. I actually first came across them on YouTube. I believe I was looking at videos about the FX3 versus the FX6, something to that regard. And as soon as I saw their work, their approach, I was like, man, I got to step my game up. That's honestly where my thought process was. So I hold them in very high regard. And you guys, I would love for you to kind of take it away and introduce yourselves. And then after that, let's hop right in and have this six-figure conversation. Thank you so much and welcome, Josh and Mike. Appreciate you guys.
Well, hey, thanks, JT, for having us on. We're excited to be here.
Yeah, appreciative to be on here and talk about what we know and what we do.
Love it. Well, thank you guys again. And honestly, let's just hop right in. So tell me a little bit more about how Story King Studios first got started, and tell me a little bit more about how it has evolved until present day here in late 2025.
Yeah, it's been a long journey. In the 90s, I picked up a camera, and that was it for me. As a 10-year-old, I knew what I wanted to do and started pursuing video and learning everything I could about it. Started my first video production company when I was 16 and been working in the industry since 2003. So it's been a lot of fun. In 2012, I started my first business, Evermore Films, which was, well, not my first business. My first business was 03. But when you're a kid, it's on the side. My first serious business was 2012. And it was wedding videos and corporate videos. And I did it all. And I did the same thing in 2003, started doing both weddings and corporate commercial in 2003. So I've done it all for my entire career. And then Mike and I met in 2018, and started, working together on some projects. And then, we we joined up in 2020, and I've been hanging out together ever since, doing this thing. It's been a lot of fun. I've been blessed to be able to do something that we love. We started the Story King Studios brand in 2022 when we realized that we were not getting the traction we wanted in the corporate and commercial space, because the brand we had was Evermore Films, and it was both wedding and corporate. And so we split the wedding and corporate divisions and left Evermore with weddings and took all the corporate and commercial to Story King. And it really just took off immediately. As soon as we took the wedding dresses off the corporate website, people took us seriously.
Sounds about right.
It was an overnight success. 20 years in the making.
Nice. Anything you want to add to that, Mike?
Yeah, no, we started working together in 2018, like you said, and I came on full time with Josh back in 2020, and it was just mainly weddings. We were doing some corporate work, but as you preach on your channel, sometimes weddings suck.
Yeah.
So, and not to mention, we're only getting older, and the brides stay the same. So we're like, we need to move on.
Yeah.
And as we began to enjoy corporate, we were like, why don't we just make the move? So we had long discussions in the layer on how to do that and how we would go about doing that. But finally, we made the decision. We put our trust in God, and here we are today doing well. So thank God for that.
Amen. Listen, it's feel like so many people have this same story. You get started, you're doing all the things. You usually pivot into weddings or portraits. You go all in, and then you either stay in that for life, or you feel that pinch and you're like, this ain't it, and you touched on a good point, Mike. It's like we are getting older. And I think once you hit early mid 30s, right, maybe late 30s, early 40s, and you're shooting a bride who's 27, sometimes, it's like, I kind of don't want to do this anymore. It's like there's this chasm that's growing between you and your clientele.
Yeah.
And but in the corporate space, I do feel like we have more mature clients, clients who are usually older than us typically. And I think that, not that you shouldn't be able to operate in any space, but it's just it's a little easier to communicate, and things just feel a little better. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
Oh yeah, I definitely feel it. I mean, when I started, and I started not wanting to do weddings at the beginning of my career. I wanted to make movies. I wanted to make Christian movies. That was my thing. And eventually realized that was a difficult living, and pivoted into, doing more corporate videos and other things. And I didn't want to do weddings initially. But I worked at another company for a couple of years who was going all around the country, around the world, doing amazing, destination weddings, all kinds of crazy things. They were really innovating in the wedding space. And I came to love doing weddings. And that was fun for a while. But after 20 years of doing that, it's like, I'm ready to do the other things. And we had probably 5 years ago, we had a project come up, a corporate project, where it was come out for half a day, shoot, give us the raw footage, $3,000 easy. And I was like, cool, wait a second. We're over here, sending a guy out an entire day of shooting and then a week of editing for $3,000 for a wedding. What are we doing wrong? And it was just like light bulb. We know where we're going.
Yeah, exactly. On the, I've had that same moment. You can do way less. You can do a fraction of the work and make the same amount of money, or you can do the same amount of work as a wedding and make just double, triple the amount. And you're right. It's like that light bulb moment. This seems more sustainable long term. And of course, you guys already know how I feel about the repeat clients. It's like, why are we not doing this 10 years ago? Right. Well, so kind of keeping in line with that train of thought, as far as like a client like that, I would love to know, man, what's the biggest project you guys have ever bid on, whether you want it or not? What's that big invoice that you hit send on? What's that looking like for you guys?
The biggest quote we've sent out to date was $80,000. And we didn't win that one, actually. It was a misunderstanding of what the client wanted, whatever. But we also have closed contracts, for 60, and we've closed contracts for 30. Like we've closed contracts for 3. We've worked the whole spectrum. We just got off, a large contract. There was a Hard Rock casino opening in our area, and they were having their grand opening, and there was, it was 2 weeks worth of covering different events and things and making same day edits and all this stuff. And so that's why both Mike and I are under the weather, because we were working 15 hours a day last week, getting this thing done. And it was fantastic. We had the whole team out. It was a great project, and everyone, was making their double time and everything, because it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun, and it was a good contract. So, these things happen.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned the $80K contract. If you remember, or if you've watched it, or for those that have watched it, that conversation I had with Jaron Collins, I think he said he had a contract that was, I believe, close to 80 or 90, and he didn't win it. But he said the same thing. There was essentially a miscommunication between, I guess, what the client was looking for, I guess, in their RFP. And then so when you replied, I guess there was a few line items you missed. Am I getting that right? And then you feel like, all things remaining equal, you probably would have won that, or was it something else?
For that particular one, it was that they were looking for something completely different.
Okay.
And sometimes you get on a call with a client and you talk through everything. Oh yeah. And then you send them the quote and they're like, no. And they're like, okay. I mean, gosh, we had another one of those where, the client, you send them this nice project and you're on the phone, you're talking to them like, oh yeah, you want this? Oh yeah, this will be 10 grand. Oh yeah, great. And you send it to them like, oh, our budget was 2. And you're like, why didn't you say that on the call? Like, and so sometimes you miss things like that. And that 80K was one of those, where they were like, yeah, we wanted more like local news station. Like, then why didn't you say that? Because you led me to believe this was what we needed. So
yeah. I think it's so would you guys say that, so when something like that happens, do you guys kind of change your processes as far as like how you approach a consultation, or do you feel like our consultation approach is pretty solid? They just, for whatever reason, they didn't communicate well. What are your thoughts there?
I mean, everything can always be improved, and I'm always trying to improve, our consultation process. But generally speaking, if we're way off the mark, I feel like it's because the client didn't communicate clearly. They didn't give us the right answers, because it's not like we didn't ask. It's rare that we don't ask the right questions. We may not ask every question or whatever, not claiming perfection here, but we have a list of questions, and they've been created over a long time of doing this. And I feel like when we have that big of a mismatch, it's because the client was unclear what they wanted in communicating with us.
Yeah. So let's kind of segue gently. I just heard you say the word communication. So, a lot of people in this industry were one-man bands. I guess I might consider myself that, or at least you're the sole person and then everyone is associates. But I'm curious to know, like, what's the dynamic between you two? Because I understand, Josh, you're the owner, the original owner or founder. But how does that work between you two? Like, who does the consultation calls? Who sends out crew? Like, what's that communication like between you guys?
Yeah, Mike, you want to jump in first on that?
Yeah, that's all Josh. Yeah, so Josh is the owner of the company, and I'm the employee. So
okay.
In those perspectives, yeah, Josh gets all that responsibility.
Oh, so when you said you came on full time, I misunderstood. I thought you not came on as an owner, but like as maybe a co-manager. Would that be a better term?
Well, I'm invested like that because I love what we do, but no, I'm an employee.
Okay.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah. So the way Mike and I work, we always joke it's like a hive mind. The way we approach projects and things, we're both in on the pre-production, we're both in on that kind of stuff. The business stuff, I handle that. But in terms of projects, we come in on stuff together. Which is great. And that's kind of the way we work on set too. Like we have our roles, like, okay, I'm going to be DP, you're going to be gaffer or whatever it may be. But we also, have this kind of hive mind thing where it's like, hey, we'll think about, this thing in each other's roles. We don't run like a corporate hierarchy structure.
Yeah. It's very unorthodox. And whenever we bring like one of our buddies who is very orthodox, the way he runs, he kind of looks at me like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But I understand the way we work is it's two peas in a pod, because just think about it. Even though I'm an employee, if the ship sinks, I go down with the ship as well. You know what I mean? And I love what I'm doing, and I don't want to do anything else. So, before I came on, I did have my own business, and I was trying to make that work. But I was like, Josh offered me a job, and I was like, well, if you'll do all the work and all I got to do is shoot and edit, okay.
I love it. Well, I guess that kind of speaks to the strength of your communication, to where you can kind of have this hybrid, like you said, I guess unorthodox relationship, but it works. I think a lot of people would kind of shy away from that, but I mean, hey, if it works and the bag is dropping, then what I got to do, right?
Right.
You want me to shoot and edit? All right, let's go for it. So
That's right.
Kudos to you guys. I like to hear when people are making things work. So speaking of making things work, depending on what you'd like to share, how is Story King Studios doing in terms of revenue? Either like your best year, or like a best month, or a best quarter, or like an average year. Like, what is that looking like for you guys?
Yeah, good question. This is an industry where your months vary, and they can vary drastically. Sometimes we're doing 30 plus in a month, and some months you're like lucky to do 3. And it varies. But I mean, we tend to hover around like the 200K mark. Usually on the upside of that. We've not really focused hard on growing hard and fast. Mike and I are both like, we have our commitments to our families, to our church, to, the other things in our life. And we're not after, making mega bucks. We're like, hey, if we can make a great wage, we can enjoy, working with what we have enough money to buy the gear we need, we're content to be there, not in a like, who cares way, but just in a, we're not chasing anything else way. What we would love, and we're always kind of in our minds trying to work towards, is trying to create enough cushion that we don't have to, be working for clients 40 hours a week, so that we have time to do some of the passion projects, that we want to do. And we've had some time this year to work on those things, which has been fantastic. I mean, this year in particular, as I'm sure it has for many people who I've talked to around the country, has been an interesting year. And a lot of this year has been slow. We're still going to hit our numbers, in the end of the year, which is great. But there were months this year where it's like, we don't really know where next week's paycheck is going to come from, because of just the economics and things that were going on this year that were tricky for everyone. But typically that's not been how we operate. Typically we operate, in a much smoother fashion, but this year has been interesting. I'm not going to lie and say it hasn't. And everyone I talk to says the same thing. So.
Yeah. Well, man, shout out to you guys for securing that bag. That's 200K is consistently, that's solid. And I want to touch on something you said there, as far as like not, growing and scaling, all gas, no brakes, because I've hired you guys for an editing project, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember I didn't have a super quick deadline, but I remember you were like, well, hey, I'm about to be offline for the weekend because we have some commitments, so we'll get started first thing Monday morning. And I respected that so much because that I don't know how to do that. I just don't know how to do that yet, and I'm still learning. So when you say that, I know you are 100% being truthful and honest, because you set those healthy boundaries. And we're like, I think it was maybe a Thursday or Friday we were chatting like later in the week, and you're like, Monday morning we got you covered. So hats off to you guys. It seems like you found a good balance of work and home, because unfortunately I haven't found it yet. I'm still searching for it. So shout out to you guys. So I think that kind of segues into the next question then. How has your mindset changed from when you first started your business until now, or do you think it's stayed the same?
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like my mindset has gone through a lot of shifts over the years. The first 10 years or so of my career before I started my current companies, I had my own little tiny company. I was freelancing and I was working for other people a lot. And one of those experiences, when I worked for another company for a couple of years and we were doing, crazy weddings, and we shot to the top of the wedding space. And we were one of the companies everyone around was looking at. We were the first ones to bring drones to weddings, believe it or not, back in like 2010, before there were even drones. We were flying model helicopters with GoPro strapped to them. Like, it was nuts.
Wow.
The stuff that we were doing. And so we had kind of the world of super tiny world of wedding videographers, staring at us like, wow, what are you guys doing? And I was able to experience a level of success in a very small way, right? I mean, we're talking a small niche of people. There's only so many thousand wedding videographers in the whole world, who care about this sort of thing. And so we're talking a very small niche, right? But it was a level of success. And I was able to get to the very top of that and go, what's interesting is up here, rubbing shoulders with all the best wedding filmmakers in the world and getting to shoot with some of them and having all these amazing experiences, I was able to see the emptiness of it. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I was able to see, like, okay, even when you're at the top, now what? Right?
Yeah.
And for me as a Christian, I was just like, this is interesting, because I was always thinking, like, pursue excellence, do the best you can, get to the top. And once I got there, I realized, this isn't as fulfilling as I thought it would be. And this doesn't accomplish the things I thought it would accomplish for me. And so it was a very brief, time that I was there in that space at the top like that. But it was enough for me to see it and be like, okay, I've been to the top of the mountain, and I realized this isn't something I care about chasing. And so when I came down off that mountain and started my own business in my own town, I realized I'm not chasing any of those things. I'm chasing the other things that we were just talking about. I'm chasing the work-life balance. I'm chasing having time with my family, being able to be at church when I want and not being like, oh, I'm gone all the time on Sunday. I'm chasing those things. And so that gave me a completely different perspective going into business and knowing, what am I here for? Like, I'm here for my family. I'm here, to serve the Lord. And so when I'm doing those things, I'm not chasing just bigger jobs. Like, hey, if they come, that's fantastic. When a great job comes, like, hey, we love it. And we're here to do the best work we can do. Like, not that there's no drive for excellence, that's there, but the reason for it has changed for me. And it's about the impact we can make, not just in the work that we do, but also in our own families. And so I've never wanted this to, what I would call sacrifice my family for that success. And so for Mike and I, and that's one thing that we're aligned on these things. And it's one of the reasons that we work so well together. And it's been a fantastic, friendship and partnership for us, because, how rare is it that you meet people who are like completely aligned with you in life and do the same thing in business. And so, when we connected, it was just kind of like, okay, this is gonna be a good thing.
That makes sense. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, Josh. What about you, Mike? What's your how was your mindset shifted from, I guess, when you first started your photo and or video business until now? What's that looking like for you?
There's a lot of things. A lot of things have changed. One of the things is that, when you start in the beginning, usually you start all by yourself. So everything is on your own shoulders. So that was a large burden, but you become the jack of all trades. Sometimes you become master of none. The goal is to be master of many. But when I first got into the business, it was rough, but I was learning it, and the difference is now is the kind of clients that we work with, as Josh has told you, we had some clients, 60 and 30, and I've talked about them on my channel, but just being able to work with those clients, and then way back when I was starting out and all the clients that I was working with, it was just a different game. When somebody's paying you $400 or $500 for a video, that's a lot of money to them. So they want the kitchen sink and everything in it. But when they're paying you $10,000, $20,000, it's like, thanks for the video. We'll call you next time when we need another job. So it is just a whole nother workflow. We make sure that we're on our P's and Q's. And then, I don't know if you bargained for this, but you're getting a whole lot of the Lord today.
Amen.
Praise
one of the things that we do is we really trust God for our business. We're not like, if you're familiar at all with what I talk about on my channel, we're we're not like most markets. Bakersfield's weird. And it's not like you were talking about bidding. We do some bidding, but we don't do a lot of it. Most of it comes from we found you on the internet, and we want to know if you could do it. And we sent them to the website, sent them some samples. Now we're sending them our YouTube pages so they can see the BTS of how things are going, how we work with
Nice.
clients, all that good
Nice.
stuff. All of that is how we usually get our business. So I say all that to say this: a lot of trust in God in that. You know, we bring our requests to God, and we trust Him for business, and He keeps supplying to kind of beyond our wildest dreams.
Yeah.
And we keep holding out for that. We keep trusting God in that. But as Josh just said, we just got off of a big job for that grand opening, which was rough, but it paid well.
Yeah.
And we were just kind of geeking off of that before we got on, and just how they found us. How we were able to get that job. We didn't put any bids, and I don't know. I don't know if that maybe could speak to a different demographic, but most of our stuff we get from good SEO, good word of mouth, and then just good placement on the web. Not so much advertising, although we do some of that, and Josh can get into that. But there's just that placement on the internet, and of course, you're going to ask me, I'm going to tell you the favor of the Lord.
Yeah, amen. So, would you say that your mindset, and I think a lot of people go through this transformation. It's like at the beginning, you're like, man, you may even think, hey, if they're asking this much from me now, then am I even ready for the $20,000 client? Like if the $500 client is asking me for a 75-point shot list, like what's waiting for me when I get to 20K? You get up there and they're like, we trust you. Just do your video and get it back to us and we'll review. And then there's no revisions. It's, do you feel like, would you kind of second that sentiment? Like it's just I won't say it's easier, but it's just a different mindset you have to have and a different approach.
Yeah, I was actually listening to some other videos the other day, and that was going on in my mind, because when you're getting started in this, it's like, I'm going to take anything that comes, I'm just going to eat it up, versus knowing what you're worth and just being confident in that. Because we can also be like, I said 40 and they said yes to that too quick, so I could have probably asked for 50 or 60. And in my mind, I'm thinking, true, but at the very same time, you can also be like, I know what I'm worth. I know my hours are worth this much. We've planned it out. This is what it's worth. Boom. This is what I'm gonna put out there. And they said yes to that easy. Great. Well, hopefully we can work together. Hopefully you can see that my pricing is fair. I'm not trying to take advantage of anybody. And then maybe next time we'll work in a larger budget, but you don't have to beat yourself up about it. But just knowing what you're worth, and my message, I always preach about, if you know what you're worth, don't discount it for free. And this is my mindset now versus before. Before I would be like, $400, $500, I'll take it. Now it's more like, no, let me just do your video for free so I can show you, let me show you what I could do, right? Let me flex a little bit. And then when I have enough in my portfolio, then I could start, drafting up quotes and say, this is what it's going to cost. This is what, so on and so forth, versus the other thing.
Yeah, and you touched on something important. I tell a lot of people about YouTube and in my community. Man, free work works. Free work works. I think when people hear free, they're like, "Well, I'm trying to get money, so it's counterintuitive. Why would I go do something for free?" And I'm not talking about they're asking you to do it for free. I'm talking about you're making the executive decision to produce something of high quality. That is first, like you said, going to boost your portfolio for the next client who has the bag. And then maybe if they see the value, they might double back and pay you for something in the future. But free work works. It really, really does. Because when someone comes to your website and they see that video, they don't care who paid for it. They don't care. All they know is, man, that was a great video. That's exactly what we're looking for.
Yep.
And exactly. Yeah. So just to reiterate, man, people do free work, but with a purpose, with intention. Okay. Don't just take anything.
And when you do free work, it needs to be your best work. I'm just going to jump in and say that. Don't do free work that's like garbage. Like, it's free, whatever. Like, no. If you are doing free work, do your best work, because that's your opportunity to put something in your portfolio, to put something out that shows what you're able to do. Because when you're doing free work, you need to be in control of that free work so that you can do your best work. If someone, like you said, is going, hey, can you make me a free? Like, not really. But if you let me make you a free video, I will show you what I can do.
Yeah. And, I think some people might not know how to have that conversation because they might think that you're somehow jeopardizing something by saying no, but let's do this. But no, it actually positions you as the authority in the room that says, now they might not understand that, or they won't know that the real reason is to boost your portfolio. But even them not knowing that, you're still the authority. Hey, that's cute, right? But that's not it. With all due respect, Susie. So what I'm going to do for you, though, is I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Here's why I'm going to do it. And let's see how that works for you. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to be like, oh, my goodness, I'm so glad I listened to you because this is amazing, right? So right on the money, Josh, like do your best free work, do it with intention, do it with purpose.
Yeah.
And so kind of talking about that, what do you think is the most slept on skill that photographers, videographers, creatives have? What do you think that slept on skill is that if like more people need to have this skill, they're overlooking it, et cetera, et cetera? What do you think that is? I see you smiling, Mike. Hold on.
Go for it, Mike.
Is this a setup? I agree 100% with what you're talking about. I think professionalism is a big deal. Just being 100% professional. Just think about what we were talking about earlier. Like, when you're first getting into it, you're doing videos for $400. You're usually doing it for peers. You're doing it for people that, you went to high school with. So it's like, what's up, man? Yeah, I'm gonna shoot a video for you. Versus, guys running Fortune 500 companies worth, $1 million plus, right? They're not going to be like, what's up, dog? It's none of that. It's professionalism. You come with a branded polo or a nice shirt, you come looking like I'm ready to do business. I love what you preach. You talk about a website. That's part of professionalism. It's like, I do this for a living and I don't, this is not a joke to me. And it's also not a side gig. This is my 9 to 5. This is my bread and butter. And even if it ain't yet, you treat it like that bread and butter, you're going to be professional. And I think that's a huge, more important than any new camera, more important than the tripod you have, is that professionalism. Because especially in this day and age, you can make any camera work to get a good image out of it. But professionalism, you can't buy that. You got to learn that. You got to exercise that. I think it's a big deal.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Anything to add to that, Josh?
What I would add to professionalism, and I agree 150%, I would add communication skills. And that's a huge part of professionalism. And in professionalism and communication skills, customer service, right? These all go together. And I'm like, that's what I, on a business level, attribute a lot of the success of our company to, is ever since I started in 2012, I was very focused on providing a good customer service, a good customer experience, both for, wedding, corporate, the whole thing. And even when we moved to, automation and started doing all these things, it was like, let's build out a good customer experience so that even if we're sending automated emails all the time at all these various checkpoints, these automated emails feel like I'm personally reaching out to you to communicate to you about your project. And that communication, that professionalism, we would have people ask us all the time, is this a franchise? Because we're we're organized and professional. And we communicate well. People would ask us that all the time. And I just took that as the biggest compliment. I'm like, nope, this is local. This is my company. And they're like, what? Anyway, all of that. Yeah.
Well, I agree with you guys. And for those that have seen my video, I talk about corporate touch points, right? that's it falls in line. Your email, your email signature, your domain name, your branded polo. Come on now.
At
What
hotmail.com.
right? Come on. Right? What color the polo is, what time you show up, how your associates act. You know, if you're using curse words when you talk to your client, even though they use it, do you use it back or do you reserve, right? All of this stuff, right? Professionalism, communication, it all makes a difference. And when you get to like that 200K level, or you're trying to put in that bid for that $60,000 project, it isn't just pure skill. It's what I say, it's nuance at that point. It's very little things that the little dog whistles to your client that let them know, okay, they're, like you said, they're the real deal. They do this full time. This isn't a side gig. This isn't like a passion project. This is a legitimate LLC, or a legitimate company, a business entity that I can trust with $30,000. You know, they're not just going to hand it over to you. Right? They're not. But once you check the right boxes, man, they're going to say, take all this money, please. Like, you're exactly who we've been looking for. So I agree 100% as always. But I'm going to say this is a similar question, but what's one thing you wish more creatives understood about the corporate world specifically? Is there anything that you wish more people understood? Because there's a lot of people online there, you know, a lot of people in my comments and maybe in yours, they're like, man, if only I could book such and such client, or, hey, where are you finding these such and such clients? I've never come into contact with any of them. Like, do you feel like there's some disconnect that people might be not getting about the corporate world specifically?
So something that ties into this that I learned a while ago is you have to recognize that you are not the most highly paid person in the room. Because when you're working with mom and pops and you're coming in and you're like, I'm $200 an hour, and they're like, well, that's expensive. Like, you kind of get this idea that like, oh, I'm the most expensive person in the room. I'm the big creative. But when you go to the corporate space, like, the people you're interviewing are making more per hour than you might be charging for the job. And you have to like come to recognize where you are on this totem pole, right? And the purpose of recognizing that is to understand how valuable their time is. And when you understand how valuable your client's time is, and you stop wasting their time, and you be as efficient as you can with their time, that's something they see and respond to. Quick story. Probably 7 years ago. Actually, I think, Mike, you were with me on this trim from Barry. Yeah. We had an oil company that we were working with, and we were filming, you know, just basic teleprompter information, corporate video stuff. And we were filming the CEO. And, you know, we run through, it's like a 2-minute video. You run through the script. I'm like, cool, that's great. You know, let's do a second take. And he's like, why? And I'm like, is there something wrong with the first one? And I'm like, it was one of these, I've never been here before in this moment. And I'm like, well, because we always do too, just in case like there's something wrong. And he's like, was something wrong? And I'm like, I don't know. It's okay if we do another one, you know? And he's like, all right. And he does the other one, same as the first one. He's like, I'm like, great, thank you. Not nicest guy, not in a rude way or anything, but just in like, he knows his worth way, right? And I have no idea, you know, his salary is way bigger than my whole company. And I just, one of these moments where you just have this learning and you recognize, okay, I never thought about this before. And little things like that, you know, and we have, you know, a monthly retainer client that we work with, and like learning to work, you know, with, you know, this particular company, their particular style. And you start to just, again, recognize, you see it, right? Like, okay, this CEO is super busy, and I have to figure out, my job is to optimize his time. And so it's like, don't book 2 hours to film an interview with him. That's a waste of his time, you know, like figure out how we can have him for 45 minutes, get everything we need and get him in and out, you know, like these sorts of efficiency things. Respect your client's time. And that is one of those lessons that everyone can learn and apply. And when you recognize that your client's time is their most valuable thing, and it's worth way more than they're paying you, you can start to run your business in a way that you're helping them, and they see that and respond.
Man, you out here preaching, Josh. Come on.
I hate you preach it all the time, so thank you.
Appreciate you, man. Any thoughts on that, Mike?
Yeah, same. One of the things that you'll hear as Josh is saying that, you'll hear the confidence in his voice because you're not going to speak to, a CEO of a big oil company, to even set this job up, unless you had confidence in who you are, what you can do. And I think that's all part of, like, the building blocks of everything that we just talked about: professionalism, having all these things set up. When you have all those things set up and you know that you can produce a good image and you can work well with people, you could talk with people. That's another quality you need to have. You need to be able to talk with people, to be able to start a conversation. When all these things are in place, then it builds that confidence that, I can talk to a CEO if they're that involved. Obviously, some of these companies are so big, they got a marketing person on top of a marketing person on top of a marketing person. But sometimes we can't interact with the CEO, and you have to be confident that I can talk to you. And even when it was like, why we need to do it again. And Josh, although he's saying what he's saying right now, he was like, well, we would like to do it again.
Yeah.
And the CEO was very CEO. I mean, this like a man's man. He's
Yeah.
why we need to do this again. Yeah, we'd like to do it again. Okay.
because we do, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And we got the second take. Although we didn't need it. Yeah, he knocked it out of the park, but still we
Yeah.
got the second take. Point
Yeah.
being, and all that being said, is you have to have that confidence. And that's obviously going to come through working with people and continuing to do what you're doing. Because I also understand that majority of the audience that are watching us do what we do are also barely getting started. Early
Yeah.
20s, just got a camera. I want to do this, and it's not as easy as it is for, say, us. And let me just be the first to say, introvert. I didn't like talking to people. And I had to break out of that, especially when I was like, to use your words, to know that was keeping the bag from me. I just
Come
had to,
on.
like, no, I had to break through it. I had to learn how to talk to people, learn how to be able to relate with the client. And, now it comes naturally because I exercised it. It's not because, whoa, now I'm all of a sudden an extrovert. No, I had to exercise that skill. It's a skill like everything else.
Yeah.
And once you learn how to start talking to people, that's how you build, relationships. And when you start to build these relationships, kind of like Josh said, was that client was 2018, I think. And then we did a video for them just last year. So we still have that relationship. These big businesses, once they find somebody that they know they can trust, that we know you can produce a good video. But again, you're professional. We like working with you. We don't look like idiots when we bring in this guy with a camera. He's got ripped jeans and a chain hanging from his back and a backwards hat. Like, none of that. Like, it's, you're a professional team. You come into our building. We're all professional, right? We go into those some of these corporate clients and they're wearing shirts and ties, So, we'll stick up like a sore thumb if we weren't halfway decent.
Yeah.
All that being said is that, once they find a guy, not everybody, but once some of these companies find a guy, they want to stick with that guy, and it doesn't even, they'll pay for your trip to come on out. Hey, we'll pay you to fly across country. We found a good guy. We want you to do the video. We'll pay for you to come across country to shoot it. So it's not necessarily, well, I'm the best in the room. I don't even think that's what they're looking for. They're looking for somebody who could do the job and that they could trust. And that's good. Once we find that, let's lock it in.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do this on a regular.
I agree. There's so many things you touched on, but that one thing you said at the end, I'll touch on that first. You said that they're not looking for the best in the room. Man, I'll be the first to tell you I'm not the best. I rate myself like a 6.5 out of 10, like seriously. But I mean, the bag is incoming. But speaking to what you talked about earlier, communication, building those relationships, and then also touching on what you said a little bit earlier before that again. Basically, if me being an introvert is standing between me and the bag, I'm an extrovert now. Not overnight,
Right.
but hi, like what's like let's get rid of every reason why you wouldn't hire me.
Sure.
And then if I still don't get hired, then I guess it was never meant to be. But we're gonna get rid of every single obstacle standing between me and this client trusting me long term. And it's not an overnight process, but whenever I call it becoming, you become dangerous, or even the word might be invincible, to where honestly, I can put you in front of any client. If they're an introvert, you know how to speak their language. If they're an extrovert, you can speak their language. If they're CEO, like, hey, let's knock it out in one take, you can just stop all the small talk, get it done. Or if they want to talk for 2 hours, you can do that too. Man, like it just gets easier at that point. So I second everything you guys are talking about. So before we go any further, man, I just want to thank you guys again for your time, man. And like I said, when I first came across you guys on YouTube, you can ask some of my buddies. I was like, man, these guys, I need to step my game up. Yeah. Their work is so good. I'm being completely honest. I want to give you your flowers. I'm like, I see you guys work as like the standard I'm trying to get to. Your work is that good to me personally. Very clean, crisp, just like kudos to you guys. And so as we're kind of absolutely. And so as we're kind of nearing the conversation, the last question, formal question is, man, what's next for you guys as you continue to grow? Obviously, we're not trying to go scale to the moon next year, but what do you feel like is on the horizon for Story King Studios?
Well, we want to figure out how to stop using an entire room full of equipment to do everything. If you watch our YouTube videos, people are just like, dang, how much stuff do you guys need? Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah. Every time we have to walk it upstairs, we start rethinking our lives.
Man.
No, we enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. Always pursuing, how to make it better. And anyways, as far as what's on the horizon, Mike and I have been actually talking about that a lot over the last week. We really want to start producing our own original content. So we're looking at documentaries and potentially some narrative content. Things we've been interested in doing for a long time, and we just keep not making it happen for years. And we really want to start pushing more of that. We got to work on a true crime documentary this year, and we shot, I don't even know, probably like 2 weeks worth of shooting for that. It was spread out, but it was a grip of shooting. And we were shooting interviews, B-roll. I mean, we were doing all kinds of things. Sometimes the director was there, sometimes he was remote, sometimes he wasn't there at all. It was just like, here's the questions, and we would just run the whole show. So it was a lot of fun. Some of it was like nice sit down lit stuff. Some of it was just cinema verite, follow a police officer around, and so we got a lot of experience doing it, and we're just like, this is something we could do. So that I think that's the next thing that we're working on pivoting into is so right now we're rolling around ideas, trying to come up with like, what is the thing that we're going to do? Is it going to be narrative? Is it going to be a documentary? But both are things that we want to do. It's like like this year I went and bought the big Ursa Cine 12K LF camera. I'm like, it's an amazing cinema camera, one of the best cinema cameras in the world. And last year I bought anamorphic lenses, and they sit on the shelf because none of our projects are right for anamorphic lenses. Mike and I are always joking. I'm like, hey, maybe we can shoot this interview in anamorphic. Mike's like, stop it. But please. we're just itching to use, our grip truck and use all of these things we have to actually create something. And for us specifically, it's something for the Lord, something with some kingdom value to it. But I mean, that's what's on the horizon for us, like, great, let's keep, bringing that income in, keep doing the work that we're doing, keep doing bigger and better jobs. But ultimately, we want to start doing some original content.
Yeah, I love it. It's funny. I've actually thought about doing some original content, like a documentary of some sort. So who knows, we might be doing that in tandem next year. So I think that's kind of a natural evolution for corporate photo and video, because essentially you have the exact skill set. You're essentially doing it in real time, right? A brand video, I would say, is a super mini documentary, right? It's B-roll interviews. And I think a documentary is just having like a just a longer take on a specific topic. So I'm kind of right there with you guys. Okay, well, guys, as we slowly start to wrap things up, and thank you for sharing that, by the way. Let's go into some rapid fire questions that I like to call the corporate 10, even though I actually changed it to the corporate 8 because I deleted 2 questions because they were kind of janky. So we're going to call it the corporate 8. All right? It's the corporate 8 today. So these are a couple of rapid fire questions. You guys can answer both in tandem, but just a quick off the top of the head questions. And then after that, we'll go ahead and take it on home. So question number 1. What's your favorite lens of all time? Tough, I know.
That is a tough one.
So I'll start. Just being practical, because I haven't shot on all the cool cine lenses. Just being super practical, the one that I just got not too long ago, the Tamron 35 to 150. I've loved that lens. I just wish it was like. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you helped sell me on it. I watched some of your videos. I was like, "Ooh, I want that," and then I ended up getting it. It's heavy though.
It's heavy, but it's so good. It's so good though.
And it looks good too.
Yeah, great lens. A1 choice.
Oh man, the Sigma Art primes are really fantastic, and I love the 50. We sold it, so we don't have it anymore. But no, that was a great lens.
I know I owned the 35 Sigma Art 35 1.4. Oh, that lens is so good. So I'm right there with you. Next question. Early call or a late night edit?
Early call.
Early call.
I don't even know anymore, so I can't even answer my question.
The last 3 weeks. The last 3 weeks have been early calls, and we've been like, even Josh was like, well, thank God it's not that early. Waking up at 5 a.m., 4 a.m.
Lord, help us.
Yeah.
Next question, 25K one-off gig or a 5K monthly retainer for a year?
5K for a year, easy.
5K for a year, all right.
That's more money.
More money, all right. So, number 4, what's your favorite piece of gear? Not a lens, but just a gear, an accessory, whatever that you currently own. It could be an accessory, a cable. It could be a camera, I guess, a backpack, a cart.
Well, I will say the one thing that I use on every shoot is my little side pouch that I carry everything in, and it's a tool pouch that I got from Harbor Freight, and I find that I use it all the time.
Nice. I need something like that.
Yeah, I think I'll probably have to go with the RS4 Pro gimbal. We've used the RS2 for a long time. Picked up the RS4 Pro recently, and there's just so many little things about it that are just nice, and the way it folds and unfolds itself, and just the little things, right? And I'm like, this is just a fantastic tool.
Yeah, I agree. I still have the RS3. I think I got it right when the 4 came out. But I agree. It's nuanced when you kind of are getting on that next level. So number 5, what's the biggest client red flag?
Clients just bringing up new things, like, so you agreed to the scope of the project, and then you're on set and like, can we do this? Can we do that? Can we do this? Can we do that? That's a big red flag, because then in post it'll be can we do this? Can we do that? Can we do this? And that ends up being a nightmare client. That's a big red flag.
Agreed.
I think for me, a big red flag when we're booking a client is if they are just all over the place on what they want and they don't have any clear goal or direction, and you're just like, this is going to be a mess.
Yeah, because
it's the same client,
right? Right. I mean, right? You don't know what you want, but now all of a sudden you want everything, right? No, I agree, because then it's like, how do I quote for this? What are the deliverables? When do you want the deliverables? You don't know. It makes it hard for you to because then you have to organize your team, you have to balance other competing priorities. So it's really important to have as much as you can up front. And some clients are like, we don't know, we just got money though, we know that, but we don't know much else.
And I'll jump in and clarify. There's also clients who are like, we're not totally sure, but we trust you. That's completely different, and that's great.
I agree. Versus we don't know, but what you said, maybe not that either. But we still don't know.
We don't know.
I agree with you.
That's a red flag.
All right. So, favorite project that you've ever worked on?
I really liked Sean's story that we did. That's pretty cool. We did a cinematic employee profile. It was shot it on anamorphic and made it all like documentary style. That was a lot of fun.
Nice.
I'm gonna say the true crime documentary that we just worked on this last year, because it was we could be creative with it, and it just wasn't, like I love corporate and I love what we do with corporate, but this was just completely outside of that. So much so that we were like starting to speculate who done it. And they were like, oh, we're just filming this. Which speaks to the good story, but we had a lot of fun doing that.
We did.
Yeah. Nice. So next question, edit everything or outsource everything?
I outsourced all my edits to Mike. And when it's too much for Mike, then we outsource it to the rest of the editing team.
Yeah.
So, I don't edit.
It's a little bit of both. Yeah, and sometimes he has to edit because I'm like, "What are you doing? Edit this. You'll know what I'm talking about." But no, it's a little bit of both because I've often shared I love the whole creative process. So I love to shoot and I love to edit. So I love to see the whole thing go together. But sometimes when we get those jobs where it's like, just shoot for us, we're like,
it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Take all this footage. Thank you. So
we love us some raw footage.
On to the next one.
For real. All right, guys. So as we're wrapping it up, last question. What is one word that describes your journey so far?
For me, it's going to be enjoyable. Very enjoyable.
I like it.
I think I'm going to go with providence. Just seeing the way God just continually works in providence through our lives, through our journey, through our business, through just everything about the story. And Mike and I could talk for another hour about all this. So I'll just say providence and stop talking.
I love it. And you know what? Listen, for any other faith-based creatives, I think that a lot of us have similar stories of providence. I hate to be one of those people that mentions the pandemic for the millionth time, but even just from then until now, a lot has gone south, and just like you said, not knowing where the next check is going to come from. Man, that client was going to drop $20,000 on me. True story. Then they flew in some team from Zurich or something, and it's like, oh, that hurt. But man, there's always another bag on the horizon, another client that randomly says, hey, that project we did last year, can we get some edits for that real quick? We got 5,000 for you, or whatever the case may be. Like, just things happening that you could not have planned. You could not have written a better timeline for it, right? So trust me, I'm in the same boat with you guys, and I think other people can attest to that as well. But guys, thank you so much for having this conversation with me. You guys, like I said, you guys are the GOATs of Bakersfield and beyond. That's I will not refer to you as anything other than. So just was happy to be connected. Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be connected to you guys. How can we get in touch with you guys for people that want to connect or learn more about you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. Number one on YouTube, I'm there at Story King Studios, and then Mike has his YouTube as well.
Yep. And then I forgot what I'm at. Video Pro Mike, I think.
Yeah.
That's bad. I should know it.
Right.
Nice.
And then we're on all the socials, websites, Story King Studios, everywhere. So yeah, hit us up.
Of course, absolutely. Well, hey, I just want to thank you guys one more time. And
Thank
I
you.
got to do my spiel. Hold on, let me orient myself. I got to say it. Listen, guys, if you're trying to grow and scale your corporate photo and video business, man, I hope you know you are in the right place. You are amongst goats and legends. And if this is the content that you hope to see, I hope that you'll like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you follow Josh and Mike, Story King Studios, and Video Pro Mike on YouTube. And as always, guys, let's make sure we get to that corporate bag. I'm out. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate you too. I love the way you educate and you tell people the truth about being professional and all the things that you preach. Love it.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Have a good one. Thanks.